Welcome in, guys. Happy Monday. We had our first losing Sunday in the NFL, but just 1.5 units. Still up on week 8 from the 2-0 Thursday Night Football, up over 1.5 units. So I've yet to have a losing week so far in the NFL season. And Friday, we left you guys off with a lot of good free information. So if you guys tuned in on Friday, we went 5-1 on NBA. Gave you a lot of those reads here for free. Hit another college free bet on the Ohio State-Wisconsin under 8-2 on the free bets in college football this season. And of course, had another little World Series winner there. D-backs game 2. Got a lot of action already out for the week. We have a 5-unit bet out for Saturday in college football. And the second 5-unit bet of the NBA season out for today. Going to get into all of this. Going to get into this. We have 2 bets out for NFL next week. 3 bets out for college football, including that 5-unit bet. So John and I have been busy. This episode is going to be uploaded a little bit later. Be patient with us. A lot of sports going on. We have a lot to get into today. John, how you doing? We're having a busy Monday coming up.
Yeah. We've been sending bets out for next week since yesterday. Yes, since yesterday. No, we're not your everyday capper. We're the best handicappers in the business. And there's only one way to do that. That's by beating the number. You only get to call yourself a handicapper if you make numbers. If you're guessing, if you're just taking the Lions money line and Celtics money line in a parlay, the 2 biggest favorites, you're not a handicapper. You're a square. So what you guys want to come here for is the best sports betting information you're going to get anywhere. I'm going to today give you all of our NBA bets. We were going to give you a college bet that we already made for the week. We've got 3 college bets. The one, which is our 1 5-unit bet, has moved 2.5 points. But being that we haven't even gotten it out for how to beat the bookie members that aren't VIP members yet, which, I mean, if you aren't, you should be, because you're just missing a shitload of money by not being a VIP, because you get notified as soon as the lines come out. So we'll give you guys that bet tomorrow, turn it to the podcast. But you're going to get enough info today to make it worth your while listening to the entire podcast. 4 NBA bets, both sides that we have. We gave out yesterday. They both moved 1.5. We've got 2 totals. One total has moved 7 points, if you can believe it. So, yeah, that's what we do. That's what real cappers do. That's why we're out betting early in the week for football for the following weekend, and why we're betting a day ahead of time. We're just DraftKings. Just save yourself the problem and the money and just pay me, and I'll make the line for you. I got to be honest with you. If I did my job as poorly as the guys that make the line for DraftKings, I'd fire myself. Anyway, a lot to go through, so let's take it away, Ben.
Yeah, real quick, guys, before we dive into the slate, give a little recap from yesterday as well. We said on Friday we'd be doing a giveaway. If you guys liked, comment, subscribe. So appreciate to those of you guys who did. Going to pull that up for you guys right now. This will be for a free month of November. As always, guys, continue to like, comment, subscribe. Help us grow this thing, and we'll return the favor. So picking the winner here, and our free bet winner, Texas High Class Productions. That's going to be our winner for the free month of November. Make sure you send us a DM. Said, love the episodes. Very informative. Appreciate y'all. We appreciate you, Texas High Class. And glad you're tuning in. Glad you're getting good information. We'll be to get in touch with us in the DMs, and we'll make sure you get set up for the month of November for free. John, a lot to go through today. Let's get some of these 1 games out of the way. We have Monday Night Football and World Series Game 3. Stick with the NFL. A lot of injuries yesterday in the NFL. How about Will Levis for Tennessee coming in? Looks like they got a new quarterback in town. And, just across the board yesterday, a lot of injuries. We can touch on Sunday NFL briefly here. I know we have a lot to get to, but a lot of injuries across the board. He looked really good. I don't know if you had any major takeaways from the Sunday slate in the
NFL. Big, bad break for Vikings. Losing Kirk Cousins. They looked like they were on a run, maybe be able to challenge the Lions in that division. But certainly no other resistance from the Bears or the Pack. Can't believe how bad the Packers are is the other takeaway. Talk about Levi's. Yeah, we had Tennessee. Tannehill, as far as QBR, was 31st out of 32 quarterbacks. So how bad could the rookie be? Little different when that rookie's making that first start at home as opposed to being on the road. He was home, comfortable environment, couldn't be much of a drop off. You rely on the run game with Henry anyway, and this kid comes out, throws 4 touchdown passes. If he has any kind of game Thursday night, Tannehill, you don't have a job anymore for the rest of the season. Takeaways, San Fran. How much did they miss Trent Williams? Look,
massive.
The guys are on the line. They just don't get enough credit. They're not the guys that are doing the dance and taking their helmet off and making the fantastic catch. But they're the guys that protect, that make everything work, that open holes for the running backs to run through. And Trent Williams out the last couple of games. This looks like a totally different offense. Have been held to 17 points straight in their last 3 games. Look like imposters of the teams that destroyed Dallas, who just looks like unbeatable at home, and then you don't know them on the road. We'll see how they do going to Philly. Philly, yeah, they stepped it back up. They're back healthy, and again, they look like the cream of the crop in the NFC with San Fran's present state with both Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams out, and I have to feel that Purdy's concussion leans a little bit too with his poor showing yesterday. The flip side is Joe Burrow back healthy, and you see the difference. He looked horrible the first few games of the NFL season. He was hobbled by that calf injury. He's healthy. He looks like Joe Cool. Cincy now, a team to be reckoned with. That's a tough division. And the Ravens look like the cream of the crop, even better than Cincy right now. They went and handled business on a West Coast trip. That was, people don't understand how much of a tough. Yeah, they Arizona pulls the Ram trick with the field goal in the last minute to get the backdoor cover. But Baltimore, they were in a tough spot, as people don't realize. Fourth game on the road in 5 weeks, one of them including the trip to London. So they were all over London, east to west to Arizona. Tough spot for them. Tired a little bit at the end. Let Arizona's offense get a few points more than that defense. They were the number 1 defense, scoring defense, coming into the game. So a lot of takeaways from yesterday. Those were some of mine, Ben.
Yeah, Cincinnati, there has to be a little bit of a study done on what they're doing wrong in training camp, because 3 years in a row, 3 games they come out, they look horrible. Next thing you know, they flip a switch and they look like a top 5 team in the NFL again.
Well, this year you got to just contribute it to the calf injury.
Yeah, definitely part of it, but 3 years running now, same trend there with them. And yeah, you mentioned what we got there, Minnesota with the issues, backup quarterback-wise. Backup quarterback's going to be on a premium. I'm interested to see who ends up going shopping this week. Maybe Carson Wentz gets a call. Going to be interesting.
We'll know by tomorrow.
Yeah. Some of these teams going to be in desperate need. Giants, they have more quarterback injuries. So that's going to be a big thing to watch this week, the injuries there. And then you mentioned with Dallas at home, looks phenomenal. But they're going to get their wake-up call at Philly on Sunday. So we'll see how that ends up treating them. I mean, it's been brutal, some of their trips on the road this season.
Look, you got some guys out there. They deny that Henry's on the move. They say they're keeping him. Maybe they feel like they got something out with the new quarterback. Hey. Kyler Murray is now healthy. He's practiced the last couple of weeks. Could he be a landing spot, let's say, in Minnesota? So a lot of things could happen. Again, trade deadline, that's tomorrow. We'll know by then, so you want to be careful. You do not want to take any of the prices on the teams that may be sellers until after the trade deadline. Don't want to jump on the Titans Thursday night game and find out you don't have Henry. So we'll wait on those teams. We do have a couple of NFL bets for the weekend. We'll talk more about those later in the week. If you want them now, become a How to Beat the Bookie member. What we will do is give you the rest of the NBA card today. I'm going to give you every bet that I made just so you guys will keep following here on the podcast. We absolutely crushed the line. But let's get back to tonight's football game, Ben.
Yep, Monday Night Football. No bet currently on this game so far, guys. You have this Raiders team who's been playing banged up without Garoppolo, Hoyer, and O'Connell. They both threw 3 picks last week in that loss. Lose to the Bears, that's a bad sign. If you're losing to the Bears, that's a little bit worse. Even with a backup quarterback. Then you have this Lions team just crushed at Baltimore. Big number on this game. Not looking to lay a big favorite on prime time. We saw it last night. Chargers just in their bounce back spot. They did what they needed to do against the Bears. They got business done. And this is really the same kind of a spot here for Detroit tonight. Just a clear as day, a little get-right situation. So big number on the game, but hey, I lean Lions and I lean a little bit to the under here. I think Vegas offense is going to have a hard time coming by points tonight. This Lions defense absolutely embarrassed by the Ravens, gave up 503 total yards, and I expect them to do the inverse here, what happened to them last week, and hold this Raiders team to single digits.
Yeah, Raiders are terrible on the road. Just out and out embarrassed at Chicago. Yes, they didn't have Garoppolo, but remember, Fields was out for the Bears, and they started their undrafted free agent rookie quarterback, his first start, and it was just absolutely ugly. So, going to be tough for the Raiders. That's the second game Garoppolo's missed. So playing, not playing, playing, not playing. Rumbles about Adams. They say they're not trading him. He's saying he's happy being there. That's like, what else are they going to say? Is Adams on his way out of town? Raiders aren't going anywhere. Lions, last look at the Lions. They got their ass whipped by the Ravens. So this is a bounce back spot. They've beaten up the weaker teams when Carolina went in there. So would expect more, something like that. But they're also banged up. Still waiting to see if St. Brown, the wide receiver, is playing. Would be a Lions lean, slight lean, or nobody.
Then we have a little bit of MLB talk before we get into this NBA card. We have World Series Game 3 going on tonight. D-backs, they even up the series. 16 hits, 4 bombs in Game 2. Stomp them 9-1. And interesting pitching matchup going on here in Game 3 tonight. As you guys know, Texas perfect 8-0 on the road in the playoffs. D-backs 3-1 at home. Not getting it done with the bats, though, just the pitching. They're scoring just over 3 runs a game at home. And how about this? Opposite ends of the spectrum. You have old man Max Scherzer versus rookie Fott going at this one. Scherzer, 2 starts in the ALCS, not looking so hot. 7 runs in 6 2/3, 6 Ks, 3 walks. We'll see what we get him out of this one. His career-wise been decent. Pretty solid at Arizona. 6 starts, 5-0, 3.32. One of those earlier this year, 4 runs in 6 innings, did give up 3 homers. And Fott, what else could you ask for a rookie in the playoffs? Been pitching very solid last several games. 2.70 ERA. In the NLCS, allowed just 2 runs in 9 2/3, 16 Ks, 2 walks, including a pretty solid Game 7 performance in arguably the toughest ballpark to pitch in the road in Citizens Bank. So you got a rookie with balls of steals going against Mad Max. D-backs are nobody here in this one. I was interested to see if that Game 1, took any life out of the D-backs, but nicknamed the answer backs for a reason. There's no killing this team. Confidence through the roof. And, hey, they should be up 2-0 in this series. They're pretty much dominating the series except for a slip up in the 9th, giving up a 2-run bomb to Seager. So, hey, until otherwise, give me the D-backs or nothing in this one.
After I had to beat the bookie member, I put that in our Game 2 preview. We were on the Diamondbacks, and I said they showed a lot of mental toughness going to Philly, winning games 6 and 7 on the road. And here's the rookie going, as Ben saying, starting Game 7. Could you get any more pressure? So if you looked at these 2 pitchers just by name, Max Scherzer, Hall of Fame bound Max Scherzer against a guy's name is Fat, PF Fat. A PF Fat with a 5.72 ERA, 3-9 during a regular season. You're like, well, everything's got to be Scherzer pitching advantage. No. What have they done late? What have you done for me lately? It ain't yesterday, it ain't last year. Mm-hmm. What have you done right now? And what right now is Scherzer, since coming off the injured list, wasn't even supposed to make it back. I give him all the credit in the world at his age, getting back, but he's been crushed. Let's put it that he's not what he is. That, on the other hand, pitching excellent baseball. He gets the pitching advantage. Texas has been on fire. They get the better bats. The game is right there. I need to take a price if I'm betting Arizona. Need to take a little price with them as a home dog. It's Arizona or nobody.
Let's talk about this massive NBA card we have going on tonight. like John said, already 4 bets out. A lot of those lines moving. We can start diving in. First game on the card, Bulls at Indiana. And how bad is this Bulls team? I mean, it's one thing to have a rough start to the season, but when you're a Bulls team that's won 15 in a row against the Pistons, and you don't just lose, you get blown out by 16 despite 51 points from Levine. I mean, really, that's all cause of concern. Maybe they should start to be selling. There was all rumors last year about should they sell. They were talking about doing it, never did it. And panic button set in Chicago. Meanwhile, Indiana looking good early, 2-0 straight up against the spread. Halliburton looking solid. Naismith gave us a nice production. Pacers took care of business last year. They went both in Indiana, 3 or 4 meetings. Pacers are nobody. I don't want money on Chicago right now.
I don't either, but I just don't want to hand the Pacers the NBA trophy yet. Wizards at home, their first game with a bunch of new pieces, and then Cleveland, who sat their starting backcourt of Mitchell Garland, the backup point guard Jerome, and Jared Allen out. So 3 of 5 starters out and the backup point guard. So I get it. Indiana's looked great. Who they played. Chicago's looked absolutely terrible. But at 3, I think it's close to the right number. I'm a tinge higher. Not enough to want to lay the Pacers, though.
Then we have the Celtics at Washington. Celtics get it done against Miami in their playoff revenge. Wizards, they come back with a win over Memphis in a tough spot in that one. Poole had 27 on 8 of 23 there. Celtics won 2 or 3 meetings last year. Wizards won the only one in Washington, though, and 3 of the last 4 meetings went over. Boston started off under game against the Knicks, come back a little bit over there with Miami. I like the over on this one. I think you just have to with Washington at this point. Washington in years past, typically a pretty over-trending team. I mean, Bradley Beal and himself, a very offensive-focused player, no defense in sight. They lose Porzingis. That's a defensive piece. And you place it with Poole, who's pretty much just another more inefficient Bradley Beal as far as all scoring, no defense. Would expect this one to be high scoring again. Slightly into the home dog and the Wizards in this one, but the defense is looking too bad through 2 games to want to get on board here.
So if you've watched the podcast since we've been talking about even our preseason podcast, Celtics have no bench. What do we get? 8 points from the bench in their last game. This is the type of game that's going to hurt them. Double-digit favorite, 10-point favorites. You get that big lead. You're going to look. They played Porzingis 38 minutes on opening night against the Knicks, and they needed every bit of that 38 because they have no bench. So when you have a chance to rest Porzingis and Tatum, you're going to have to get these guys on the bench. So you're up 15-18 to the Wizards. If you get a bench that can't put some points on, going to be hard to maintain those double-digit leads. Look, Boston could beat them by 20. Just I don't see any value handing it over a monster lead to that bench. I got nothing on this one.
We have Nets at Charlotte, Brooklyn. The weird 0-2 straight up, but 2-0 against the spread in their first 2 games, covered at Dallas and a 125-120 loss on Friday. Claxton and Johnson both going to remain out here. How about Cam Thomas? 33 points per game in his first 2 games so far, efficiently at that, and they're shooting over 43% from 3. Hornets coming off a loss to the Pistons. LaMelo Ball just hasn't found his shot yet. 25% shooting first 2 games. They're looking decent. I mean, Miller fits nicely in that team. I think Hornets can be a bit better than last year. Still a bottom 5 team in the East, 100%. And then Nets won all 4 meetings last year. This is a slight lean to the Nets, and more so looking at the under in this one. Nets have played a high-scoring game with Dallas. I just don't think it's going to be their identity this year. Expected to be a little bit more low-scoring here. Charlotte, very under-trending team. Both Nets games have gone over, but 4 of the last 5 meetings went under, and both Hornets games have gone under.
Yeah, Brooklyn is a deep team, and they need it because they don't have Johnson or Claxton. They're going to miss their second straight game. Those are 2 starters, but they are deep. I would have been all over the Nets in this one if they were healthy. Nets swept all 4 meetings last year by a combined 43 points. That's 10.75 points per game. 6-1 at Charlotte, winning the last 3 by a combined 32 points. So everything says the Nets, but they're not healthy. With the trend against the injuries, 1 point Nets, that's the right line. I got nobody.
Then we have T-Wolves at Atlanta. You got this Minnesota team who just beat the Heat without Jimmy Butler. And then you have this Hawks team coming off a back-to-back. They beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee last night, 127-110. Got it going. Trae Young and Murray, who shot horrible in the first two games. A little bit of a bounce back there. And then you have this Atlanta team shot just 32% from three in the first three games. We'll see if that picks up. Very over-trending matchup. 9 of the last 11, 4 straight, averaging almost 247 a game. That has to be a lean here in this matchup. Weird read as far as the side. Definitely a little bit of a letdown spot, you could say, for Atlanta. And Minnesota's had some success last season, winning both meetings. Slightly into the Timberwolves in this one. Would need a little bit more there. Don't want to be laying this big a favorite on the road.
Well, not so much of a big favorite here. What are we looking at? 2.5?
Yeah, just a road favorite nonetheless.
Look, Minnesota played two of the better defensive teams. Looks like Toronto's going to be playing a lot of ugly, low-scoring games. We had Toronto opening night, or the second night. They had the opener for both the Timberwolves and Raptors. That was an ugly game. And then they play against the Heat. Heat without Butler. They're a terrible offense to start with. Now take Butler out of that lineup, so they handle business there. How are they going to do? They got to come back to Atlanta. They won both games last year, blew out the Hawks, so maybe a little something for the Hawks to get up for. This is about Trae Young. Trae Young is just, let me see, he's 13 for 49 shooting percentage right now through 3 games. Miracle how they buried the Bucks last night, but not really a miracle. This is one of the games we talk about look aheads as the Bucks are looking ahead to today's Miami game. Play with revenge. Talk about that in a minute. Hawks have a lot of room to get better. Trae Young shoots a little better. They're that much better. DeJounte Murray started the season off slow, picked up his pace, shot 50% yesterday. As soon as Trae Young gets up, they make the next step. Does he get up to speed tonight? The way they're playing right now, Timberwolves 2-point favorite on the road with Atlanta on a back-to-back. That's the right number.
And we have Blazers at Toronto. Blazers 0-3 straight up against the spread. 4th city in 6 nights, and quite a lot of travel going down to LA, back up to Portland, now cross-country all the way to Toronto here after a loss to Philly last night. So they've been traveling all over the place and not looking good. Ayton, who said he was going to come be dominating, and he has not. 8.3 points per game. A little bit of a rough start there. Meanwhile, Toronto, they're coming off the loss there to Philly and a little bit of a letdown spot after the OT game. And Nobi, questionable. Wait to see what's going on with him. Toronto took care of business last year in this matchup, won both meetings, won by double digits in Toronto. Spot is all them, John.
Yeah, Portland's the worst team in the NBA right now. I thought they would be a little bit better. Getting rid of Lillard, they brought some pieces back. Robert Williams and Brogdon from the Celtics. The draft pick, Henderson, looked like he was going to be a player. Grant, who they held from last year, he's a solid basketball player. So it looked like they had some semblance. And then you got Simons, but now since he's injured, they haven't put it together yet. As of right now, they're the worst team in the NBA with Simons going out. They take the mantle. And after seeing San Antonio the last couple of nights, we like them against the Rockets, but I'm going to drop them down another little notch, San Antonio. So my terrible 3 is going to be Portland, San Antonio, Houston, just a nudge ahead of San Antonio. But anyway, Portland, make matters worse, back-to-back and 4th and 6th. And this is West Coast, East Coast, Canada. The NBA schedule makers just must not like Portland to put them in that spot. And Toronto, they were home for their last game. It was a loss. They're rested. They'll be looking to get back. Toronto, I believe, second best against the spread record last year at home. Even with the Nunneby, if he doesn't play. Look, this is one of my games, guys. We gave this out yesterday. DraftKings opened at 7. As soon as they opened it, we sent it out to our members. Toronto -7 game right now sitting at 8.5. We're all over the Raptors in this one.
Then we have the Warriors at New Orleans. Couple of bets on this game. You have Golden State in a similar bad spot. They are now back-to-back third city in 4 nights. But hey, kudos to them. Start out this year 2-0 straight up against the spread on the road. One of those in Sacramento, one of those at Houston. So yeah, maybe your easier road games if you're Golden State, but still compared to being the worst road team against the spread last year, good note for them. And then you have this Pelicans team, 2 dominant wins to open up the season. Took care of business on Saturday against the Knicks. Through 2 games, this Pelicans defense, very solid, allowing 95.5 points per game, allowing just 23.8% from 3. Obviously, that's crucial facing the Golden State Warriors. And under in this matchup. The 6 of the last 7 meetings go under, averaging 215 a game. Both Pelicans games have gone under, averaging 199. All 3 Golden State games have gone under, averaging 216.3 points per game. John, go ahead and let them know how far that number has moved.
I mean, we just absolutely buried this one. We went under through 231.5. Only problem is we should have punched it a little harder. This game is now 225. Just as Ben said, under. We also laid the Pelicans minus 2.5. We just, as soon as DraftKings came up, this was a game we had circled. Golden State was in the same exact spot twice last year, coming to New Orleans on back-to-back. In both cases last year, they sat everybody. So we expect the same today. Maybe not everybody. We don't expect everybody to play. Dre Green made his first game back last night, gets 20-some-odd minutes. First game back from injury. Don't know if he's going to be coming back-to-back. Curry, they had actually questionable prior to yesterday's game. Don't know if you want to see Curry coming back-to-back. If they all play, I still think the game should have been I know the game should have been higher than the 2.5. It's already at 4. So even if they all play, still plenty of value at minus 2.5. If they don't play, if they sit, this game will skyrocket to 7. As of right now, because of the way the line has reacted, it looks like it's reacting that they're playing. But the total tells me different. The total tells me the game has dropped 7 points. Guys, so we love having you guys here at the podcast. But by the time you guys are getting this information, we use the expression, the horse has left the barn already. You're going to want to get this info, and the only way to get it, you're a VIP member. I make a bet, boom. You get the notifications, and you don't get that bet written right away. The lines are going to change. That's what it's about, and that's what we're doing at DraftKings. So Golden State, minus 2.5, under 231.5. I know a lot of you aren't going to believe this, but our members do. Our members know this is what we do day in, day out. I believe last week we told you Spurs, we took plus 1.5, and by the time that line closed, it's 3 and 3.5. What can I say? I'm the best in the business. I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back, John. We'll see what goes on with the Pelicans. I will tell you guys, I love this Pelicans team. I think when healthy, second best team in the West. I think they match up nicely against Phoenix, Denver. This matchup tonight, just the size difference they have over Golden State. They're similar to Phoenix, no true point guard. They got McCollum playing their point guard as a 2, but Ingram, Williamson, and Valanciunas for bigger guys, all pretty good facilitating. And defensively, I mean, you see what it has with their size. They've just shut down 2 teams in a row. We'll see if they can do that to Golden State again tonight. Next game, John, big playoff revenge, as you hinted to earlier. Heat at Milwaukee. Butler, who did not play against Minnesota. They rested him up for this game. Got news during the podcast. Adebayo is questionable for tonight, so we'll see what's going on with him, if he's going to be playing or not. This Milwaukee team, letdown spot, or look-ahead spot yesterday, I should say, in their loss to Atlanta. Damian Lillard, really bad game, just 6 points. We'll see if he bounces back in this spot. Obviously, the 8-seed Heat knock out the first seed Bucks. A lot of issues for the Bucks this year. Giannis had the back issue. Budenholzer's brother died. So a lot of issues for Milwaukee there. I'm sure they want to get this game here as far as a win. You have, as far as the regular season, split 4 meetings. Bucks won both in Milwaukee by an average of 18.5 points. So blowouts at home, playoff revenge. Miami possibly without Adebayo. Spot is all Milwaukee here.
All Milwaukee, and if you're a How to Beat the Bookie member, you know if you looked at the preview, the only reason I'm not on it because Milwaukee played last night. Does Lillard or Giannis or both of them get tonight off? I don't think so. This was playoff revenge. Going to want to bury this team. But Dame had an awful game last night. Does not score in the first half and comes away with just 6 points. So while it's playoff revenge, I know they want to be out there. we already had multiple guys shut down, sit down. But Milwaukee looked absolutely horrible. They didn't look great either in their first game against 76ers. Remember, that was a 76er team coming with all that Harden baggage, without Harden, but with his baggage. So they didn't look great there. It looked ugly last night. Let's see what they look like on a back-to-back. So, yeah, it would be Milwaukee or nobody. If Bam is out and Bucks are all in, this is an 8-point line. The Bucks will look to put it on a team that'll have no defenders in that paint. So I would like the Bucks in that spot.
We have Pistons at OKC. I think these are the two teams in the NBA we have profited off of the most over the last 2 seasons. So this is like 2 kids for us playing here. We'll see who gets it done. Shout out Suzuki. He tunes in a lot on the lives and the podcast, everything else. He's a member, a big Detroit Pistons fan. He's been hyping up Jalen Duren this past season. I was like, all right. And the next thing you know, this guy's averaging 18 points per game, 15.3 rebounds per game, getting it done in the paint. And I bring that up because the Thunder last night got crushed by Denver, allowing them to shoot 60% with 72 points in the paint. So prop bettors might be looking at Duren's points, rebounds, and assists. He's been going off. Pistons looking pretty solid to start the year, 2-1, 3-0 against the spread. Thunder 2-1 straight up against the spread. SGA brutal game last night, 2 for 16, and under yet again for the last 5 meetings go under. Each of these 2 teams, 2 of their 3 games have gone under. Worth a look at this one with OKC on the back-to-back and Pistons slower in pace.
Look, Holmgren might have a little something to say about Duren's 80% because he only blocked 7 shots the other night. OKC was just a total letdown yesterday. He got blown out by the world champion Nuggets. But, man, the Nuggets look real. No championship hangover so far. We caught them perfect the right night. The night in Memphis, we took +6. Grizzlies only lose by 4. Other than that, beat the Lakers and then an absolute crush job on the Thunder last night. These 2 teams, as Ben mentioned, these are the 2 teams we've made the most money with the last couple of years because they have undervalued. Ain't fooling nobody anymore. These teams, everybody knows what these teams are. Big letdown yesterday. Let's see if OKC can respond. The Pistons have just had their way at OKC. So they've won, I believe they're 7-1 against the spread the last 8 meetings and have covered their last 4 trips to OKC, even though they lost last year. Let me just get the right stats for the guys here.
Yeah, they lost. I think it was 107-106. Lost by 1, but covered.
But covered last year. So, yeah, as I said, 7-1 the last 8 meetings there. And the under, as Ben said, this was our other total bet. We went under 226.5 in this one. Right now, you're looking at 225, even 224.5 in some of the spots. So it just looks like another under to me. If you're not how to beat the bookie, member, if you could still catch an under 225, I still think you got a little bit of room.
Next matchup, pretty good one for Western Conference. Mavs versus Memphis, or Mavs at Memphis, I should say. Luka Doncic, 2 games, my God, 41 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, very early, but putting up MVP numbers to start the season. Memphis, no Morant, no Adams, no Clark, big problems. 0-3, 1-2 against the spread. They lost at Washington on Saturday. And they were NBA best, 35-6 at home last year. Obviously, this is a completely different roster than what they had last season. So hard to hold that home success with too much weight. Grizzlies did win 3 or 4 meetings last year, both in Memphis by the exact same score, 112-108. Under trending matchup. 7 of the last 8 meetings go under, averaging 205.5 points per game. All 3 Grizzlies games have gone under, but both Mavs games have gone over. I will say, in the years past, when Jason Kidd first came to Dallas, Mavs were pretty much an under-trending team. Obviously, with some of their trades, losing some of their defense, Finney-Smith, everything else, getting Kyrie, a bit more over-trending. But Memphis, the opposite, with Morant, very high-scoring, fast-paced, up-tempo, a bit more over-trending in the past, now under-trending. I still think this matchup will be under-trending. Memphis, big defensive identity with what the roster they have right now, and will be a lean to the under in this game. slightest of leans to the Grizzlies, but tough to back them right now. Not looking so hot to start the season.
Yeah, not looking good, but at home, different story. Like I said, tough spot so far they played. So they open up the season at home against the Pelicans. Pelicans look to be a real good team. Pelicans have their way with them pretty much. Very, very short-handed Memphis squad. Memphis then has game 2 of the season. They played Denver about as tough as we could ask them for. We were on the Grizzlies in that spot. They lose by 4. We get the money. The next day, they've got to go to Washington. They're just not deep. And if too many guys out, they get their doors blown off. They rest, come back home against Dallas. They've had success against the Mavericks in their own building. So my lean is a little bit to the Grizzlies. We need to this game to go just a little bit higher to make it worth. Ben has been trying to sell me on the total on this one. I'm on the borderline. I can't bet under in the Alice games. And I call them Alice because there's no D in Dallas. Their games are insane. And then what Luke is doing, look, you got 2 guys that just play offense, Luka and Kyrie. And Luke is going off for 40 a game so far. So tough for me to what Memphis is going to play that old school Memphis Grizzly churn games, just getting into the hundreds. But I think Dallas wants to pick up the pace a little bit. Lean us to the under. I'm not saying Ben's wrong. Just tough for me to pull the trigger on a team that's the highest scoring team in the NBA right now.
And we have Jazz at Denver. Just told you guys how great Denver's doing. 3-0, 2-1 against the spread. Then you have this, 3-0, 1-2 against the spread. Then you have Utah right now, who's 1-2 straight up against the spread. They're crushed at Phoenix without Booker or Beal. That's a bit concerning. Utah, a little bit of success in this matchup, but hey, take a closer look. It's mainly, back in the Donovan Mitchell Utah days. This is not as quite that team. Nonetheless, the trend 7-2 straight up against the spread the last 9 meetings. Granted, Nuggets won both meetings in Denver last year by an average of 10.5 points. Utah did cover one of those. And then there's some under trends here for the last 5 meetings going under. Denver playing to the under, all 3 games going under for them. But Jazz, the opposite. All 3 games have gone over. Jazz last year were top 3 cashing overs on the season. Weird little spot here with Denver with the matchup success for the Jazz. A little bit of a lean here to Utah. And do the reigning champs give anybody a day off here back-to-back? They've been bouncing around, traveling a little bit. 3rd city in 4 nights. Wonder if anyone gets a night off tonight.
And that's the only thing that's kept me from betting Denver. We could have had this game at a -7 as soon as they put these lines out yesterday. And that game has gravitated up. But Denver looks fantastic right now. Like I said, no championship hangover whatsoever. Are they going to get up for a home game against a Utah team? This is going to be a cruise type of game, limited minutes. Tough to lay these big numbers with that type of team. Or does Joker get a night off or Murray get a night off? And remember, Murray just a couple of years removed from that terrible knee injury that cost him a season. So if we knew everybody's going to play and we're 100% playing, to me it would be Denver or nobody, even with Utah's past success against the Nuggets. This is a different Nugget team. They look real good. Just going to have to catch the Nuggets on their sleep nights, on their nights off, and this may be one of them.
Then we have Magic at the Lakers to wrap up the card. Lakers, bad beat for us last night. Anytime you're taking points and going OT, not fun losing that game. They had multiple opportunities to close out, couldn't get it done. Magic coming off a win against Portland, looking pretty good early on to start the year. Granted, a couple of easier games for them, Houston and Portland, but nonetheless looking good with what they've been given. They lead the NBA, allowing 91.5 points per game. Again, Houston and Portland, take it with a grain of salt. Then you have this Lakers team go to OT last night. LeBron played 39, AD played 42. Which or both, do they get a night off? Have to be looking for that. If they both play, this number is well short, but this number is made, it looks like, with one or both being out. So waiting to get news on the Lakers tonight. Magic have had success on the traveling here to LA. What is it, 4 of the last 5 they covered? And both Magic games have gone under. Lakers, 2 of their 3 games go under. Last night's would have gone under if it wasn't for overtime. So under trending basketball here for the Lakers as well. Could be a look at that, especially if LeBron and AD are out.
Yeah, even with the overtime, Lakers should be a 3.5-point favorite in this game. They've won the last 6 matchups. Orlando, as Ben said, they've looked great, but they beat up a couple of little girls. They beat up on the two of the 3 worst teams in the NBA, Portland and Houston. AD, 41 minutes. LeBron, 39 minutes last night. Do they play? If they do, how much do they play? If LeBron plays. Now they've been talking about he was going to play 28 to 30 minutes. That happened the first game and has been out the window since. If he plays, I can't picture him going over that 30-minute limit if he plays at all. Does AD play on the back-to-back of 41 minutes? Ben told me just before we came on air that AD's goal was to play all 82. Exactly what Ben did is what I did, started to laugh. The water was coming out of my nostrils because I said a hefty goal for him would be 62 games. So we'll see if they're going to play tonight, but that's what the line should be. And again, this whole LeBron thing is tough to manage. We knew he would play extra last night. They had 2 days off, so we figured they would press. They'd go to Sacramento and get a win. They did press him, just didn't get there. Look, it happens. Lose the game in overtime. Nothing you can do about that. Tonight, probably rest him. If he doesn't, he plays limited. And that's how you're going to have to make up the line with LeBron. There's a point and a half in play every game that LeBron's playing. Is he going to play less? Is he going to play more? Is he not going to play at all? Obviously, that there's bigger on the line. So 3.5. If LeBron and AD are in the lineup tonight, right now the game is sitting at 2. We have to wait for those injuries. And that, again, guys, you want to be ahead to beat the bookie member. We love you guys coming into the podcast, and we appreciate all the support. But NBA, like no other sport, an hour before tip-off, you got to know who the injuries are. Last night, we didn't know if Curry was going to play for the Warriors. We would have bet Golden State. If we knew Curry was going to play, nobody knew till late. Embiid was another one. You're already missing Harden. Embiid was questionable. Would have loved to be out on Philly against this trash Portland team. Got to have these injuries. And again, NBA, unlike no other league, right an hour before tip-offs when you start getting lineups.
Absolutely is, guys. Make sure you guys check out the app and the website for that information. Shout out to our giveaway winner, guys. Make sure you guys continue to like, comment, subscribe. Help us grow this thing. Enter yourself in giveaways. A lot of bets out for the week. 3 already for college football, including a 5-unit bet. 2 already for week 9 in the NFL. We have 4 bets out tonight in the NBA, including a 5-unit bet. A lot of action, John. Things have been running hot. Let's keep it rolling this week.
Yeah, no, we're on fire, and I was doing the college football for a few weeks, and the transition between the baseball players when there's a lot less games to NBA. At this point, I'm just overseeing or playing with Ben. I've handed it over to Ben. Ben had another monster weekend this week, crushing the Wisconsin game with both the side, winning by the hook, 14.5, and the total. And then kind of backdoored that Oregon-Utah total.
I'll take it.
Look, that's what we backdoored the total in the Chargers Bear game.
Yep.
That they have to score, right? That's why under is always a good bet. You're always in the game till you're not. Ravens was the flip side of the coin. You go into a fourth quarter, 21-7, and you figure you're good at under 44. But so Ben knocked him dead with another college. He's got the college. We've got a 5-unit college bet that we both agree on out already. We'll give that tomorrow. We have a 3-unit bet that we both agree on. We're not going to give that one out. And then we had another bet that I just gave away. We also got 2 NFL bets out already. 1 side, 1 total. I gave you my 4 NBA bets here today, guys. The only way to get all of them and get them on time. I mean, what are you going to do when you listen? And I told you we took Golden State under 231.5. The game is 225 now. Become a member. Get the bets. As soon as I make the bet, you get a VIP notification, and you'll destroy DraftKings the way we are.
Nope, beat the number, beat the game. We've been beating the game a lot the last couple of months. Make sure you guys join it, and let's make some money, John.
Let's make some money.